It was the major debate that began after the 2024 ANZAC Day game. Should the AFL introduce some form of an extra time system to decide the winner of games tied at the end of 4 quarters? Most polls online, and even the one on this channel, were mostly in favour of leaving the system as it is. Still, a large number of AFL commentators and players are interested in adding another period of play. At the end of the day, it is a very weird feeling when the scores are the same at the final siren. To start off, for the seemingly majority of AFL fans, are the key reasons why extra time shouldn't be implemented during the home and away season. The game on Thursday afternoon provides a great example of both sides not being able to win the game. Kyle Langford had a relatively simple set shot to put Essendon ahead, but missed with a minute to go. Then, with 25 seconds left in the match, Jamie Elliott led into the pocket and looked like he was going to take a sliding mark before dropping it. The same day, he took an iconic ANZAC Day hanger. So those in favour of no extra time can fairly point to the concept of both sides weren't quite good enough to win, so no one deserves the extra chance to take 4 points. Then there is the originality about it. The AFL is a weird sport, so why not keep the draw and the 2 points as another unique part of the game? It's a traditional perspective on the topic and makes sense. We don't really need to change every part of the game. There are elements extra time would add, however. First and most obviously, a win and a loss would be a result. That empty feeling that can come from a draw will be removed and give the chance for one side to gain an extra 2 points, while the loser will walk off with nothing. At the end of the season, games that would have been draws but turned into a win and a loss could have a big outcome on the overall shape of the ladder. If you can try to imagine extra time after the ANZAC Day game, then you would know the atmosphere would be unbelievable. For these big marquee matches, it has the opportunity to create even more classic games between teams and unforgettable match-winning efforts. Draws are often memorable, but what could possibly beat Jamie Elliott kicking a goal after the siren in 2022 for an example? Extra time allows the chance for these type of moments to happen. Instead of fans leaving the stadium indifferent about the game, a win or loss result gives that emotional high or low that comes with supporting a team. It's the same feeling a lot of the players and all of the coaches want. Zach Merritt seemed to be in favour of the change, while his coach outlined a clear plan on how to decide if we would ever implement it into the competition. Merritt said, "I love competing, I love winning, and I hate losing. So I would love to have played for an extra 5 or 10 minutes to get a result," he said. But it's a unique feeling walking off with no team song for both. His coach believed fans, despite the polls online, would want the extra time period. I could make an argument for and against, but I think the game comes back to the fans, Scott said. For them, if you ask the fans, I think they probably want a result. But I don't have a strong view for and against. If I was at the AFL, I'd poll the fans. So if extra time was added, what are the possible formats of it, and how could one of them still end the game as a draw? The first and most obvious way to introduce extra time is using 2 5-minute periods. It equates to half a traditional AFL quarter and would match the extra time rules that are in the final series. It ensures both sides kick to one end of the ground, and no annoying factors like wind could play a really significant part in the result. Now from this point is where we can split into a few different options. If the score is again tied at the end of the first period of added time, then another 5 minutes or 2 5-minute halves could be added on. This process would keep going until a result was finally achieved. We could also take a page out of the NFL's rulebook and end the game as a draw after the 2 initial 5 minutes of extra time. This could keep people who want the added periods happy, while still giving the possibility, although rare, of drawing the match. For a really wild idea, if there is still a tie at the end of extra time, how about a soccer-style penalty shootout, except we use set shots? You could go 35 or 40 metres out from 5 different angles, or all from straight in front, and apply the same system used in soccer. Each player has a shot until it is mathematically impossible for the other side to match. It sounds incomprehensible in our game, but again, imagine the system being used on the ANZAC Day stage. It would be unbearable for supporters to watch and would put a large emphasis on clutch set shot goal kicking. Other fast-paced ideas could be a simple 2 minutes of added time, or next goal wins the match. All of these would create a huge sense of urgency and thrilling finishes. It was a surprise when Brad Scott said he believed AFL fans would be in favour of extra time. Only a quarter of the 900 plus people who voted on this channel's poll wanted it in the sport. It seems the logical thing to do if the AFL is split. Poll the public. I'm not exactly sure how it would work, but you would think an online vote where anyone can register to put in their opinion is the way to go. The AFL could go rogue and just implement it, but I think it's clear the backlash would be severe. Although with a lot of things, people would get over it very quickly. It was the same with the 666 and other rule changes that had people up in arms. At the time it was a big deal, but now it's just a normal part of the game. If I had to guess, I don't really think the AFL cares all too much about adding in more playing time to drawn games. GM of football Laura Kane said this about the idea.
It brings up that argument, doesn't it? Should there be extra time to find a winner? I see you smiling over there.
Yeah, I'm smiling because I had, I think, about 100 text messages asking me about extra time. And as I walked out of the game, a Essendon fan said that he thought that I had the ability to get all the players back out there and keep playing, and we should do that. So I loved the passion. It was a little bit of a weird feeling when the siren went, but we obviously have extra time in finals and for the grand final. But no, it's not something we're looking at in the home and away season.
I guess it doesn't really benefit them in their current goals, and as Andrew Dillon seems to be a traditionalist in certain aspects, it goes against AFL House and who is currently in control. Maybe later down the road, it will be another evolution that the AFL decides to take.